All right. So you guys, I'm so excited that you're here. If you are in a position that you can, I would love for you to turn your camera on for two reasons. One, I get more invigorated when I can see you interacting with the information. Two, you'll receive more. Now, we do a lot in this container energetically, right? Our cognitive understanding of things is not as important as the energetics. So regardless if you're on camera or not, you're going to get a lot of the energy of this information. But if you are on camera, then your cognitive attaches differently. Then you get what you're getting energetically, you get what you're getting cognitively. And then the combination of the two actually allows you to receive even more. So I love to see your faces. I love to hear you guys interacting or like in the chat. I love to hear when you want to respond to a question or maybe a comment. We love, love, love the interaction. So welcome to the party, you guys. One of the things that I think is so fun and interesting about the work that we do in consciousness is the fact that sometimes we think that the cognitive is really what's important, right? And we go, oh, I know this stuff, right? I know this stuff. And if you guys have ever been to a money class or ever been to a manifestation class and you're like, here I am again, I'm at another one, like, what am I not getting? Why did I not get it before? How come I'm still struggling? And guys, here is the good news. Everything you did brought you to here. Everything you'll do here will take you to the next level, right? This is an ever unfolding of the magnificence of you. And guys, when we start to unpack all of how this works and why this works the way that it works, and you'll get some new information, but then I'm going to reassure you through this entire 3 days, like nothing is wrong with you. You're not behind. You didn't miss anything. You didn't screw it up before. You're not doing something that you should be doing. It's simply just, this is the process by which you came to the planet to experience this thing. And guys, when we think about like, why is money the thing that is so elusive, right? We want the money so bad. And why is it that there's so many people who apply the law of attraction or do energy work? And money is that thing that's so elusive, right? Guys, I just want to remind you that there are so many elements of how things work that we weren't told, that nobody explained to us, that there's different parts. We have different minds that work in different ways. And until we start to really unpack all of that and see how it works, right? A lot of us have been told that the law of attraction works, that we need to do gratitude journals, that thoughts are things, right? But when we actually stop and think about, well, how does it work? How does the law of attraction work? Well, I love to use this as an example, right? Here's a lamp. And if I told you guys, hey, just go and pull this little string, just pull the string and the light will go on. But I just pulled the string and the light didn't go on, right? So a lot of the teachings that we get is, this is what to do. Here, just pull the string. But then I go, I'm pulling the string. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Other people are pulling the string and the light didn't, and the light went on. But when I pulled the string, the light didn't go on, right? But if I said, hey, guess what? You have to have that lamp plugged in also. The lamp has to be plugged in. Oh, pull the string and plug in the lamp, right? And so I plug in the lamp and I pull the string and it still doesn't go on. Oh, wait. Oh, there has to be a light bulb in it. Oh, and not only does there have to be a light bulb in it, but the light bulb has to work. Oh, and there has to be electricity to the house, right? We take for granted that when we turn on a lamp, right? Because we understand electricity, physical electricity. We understand all that, right? It's the exact same thing with energy, the ethereal energy. There is so many different parts, and we haven't been told how it works. Usually we're just told that it works, right? And so one of the things that I'd love to talk about is that money is, well, like when people say love makes the world go round, it's not money. Well, in the physical world, you guys, money makes the world go round. Money is what makes the world go round. That's why we want it, guys. That's why we desire it. Why? Well, because try to go to the airport and go, no, I love you. Let me just give you a hug. I love you. And can I get on an airplane? And they're like, no, you have to give me money, right? So when we think about all of the rules about how it works, it gets clearer and clearer and clearer what we need to do and what's missing and why what we desire isn't showing up, right? So over the next 3 days, you guys, we are going to go through these tactical, practical applications of how it works. And we're also going to look at some of the reasons, the limiting beliefs behind what maybe we don't realize is keeping us stuck, that if we saw it, we'd be able to actually address it. Okay, so excited for you guys to be here. One of the things that is like the biggest misnomer is that we have to apply the law of attraction. When in reality, if we understand that it is a law and it never doesn't work, it never doesn't work. Well, what does that mean? That means it's always happening, right? So if we believe that the law of attraction, now what does it mean to be a law? Well, let's go back to 5th grade science, okay? So 5th grade science says, if I believe something's going to happen, or if I want something to happen, then I have a hypothesis. I make a hypothesis. If I do this, then this will happen, right? Then they test it. And if it tests all the time in relationship to their hypothesis, they turn it into a theory, right? But if it happens every single time, that's when they call it a law. So it's the law of gravity, the law of motion, right? Because it never doesn't work that way. The law of attraction is exactly the same. It is a law and it is always working, which is why if we don't understand the how, we think we're doing something or not doing something, not getting what we want. And then we're like, right? But when we make that shift inside of us to understand how it works and we line it up from within us, things can't not show up. I love telling stories about how this works. When we shift our understanding of the law, we shift our understanding of us as the law, now things just show up. What does that mean? So I love to tell the story about one of my clients who came in to one of our programs. He showed up, I think, for like the kickoff and then one class. And then he never showed back up, but he called me probably, I don't know, 3 weeks later or something. He goes, Lori, it worked. I go, what worked? He goes, all the things that you're teaching, it worked. I'm like, oh, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, I was embodying what you told me to embody. I was seeing myself as abundance. And then out of nowhere, and this is what's so magic, you guys, out of nowhere, somebody called me, told me that he knew what I was doing with my business and that he wanted to actually hold a loan for me for this property. He goes, Lori, I would have never been able to afford the property. I would have never gotten the funding. I would have never been able to do this. And out of nowhere, this person, it was $1 million property, $1 million property that somebody just said, hey, I just want you to have it, right? I have this other client who now, and this is what's so magic, you guys, about when And we'll talk a little bit more about how this works as we go. But I like to do a contrasting story. Then I had this client that I worked with for 2 years. For 2 years. And she was trying to make her business work, and she was trying to make her business work. And I kept saying, okay, how about you just have some fun? What would it look like if you just had some fun? Well, I do this, but I can't. I've invested so much. I've invested in my programs. I've invested in like my equipment. I have to make this work. I have to get my money back. I have to. I said, okay, all right, well, let's clear this. Let's do this. Let's, we did all the things that we're supposed to do, gratitude journals, things like that, right? We're doing all the things. And she's like, okay, I'm going to try this time. I'm going to try this time. I'm going to try this time. Okay. Well, what about you just have some fun? If it was just fun, what would you be doing? Well, I like this part of my business. Okay, we'll focus on that. And she'd get a few clients. And then she'd go, oh, okay, but that's not enough. I have to do this. I have to do this. And finally, you guys, after 2 years, she's finally like, screw it. I don't care. I don't care if I lost all my money. I don't care. I can't do this anymore. It's too hard. It's too frustrating. I can't do it anymore. I said, cool. What if you just spent 30 days, just 30 days having fun? Don't do anything that you have to do. Don't do anything that you think you need to do. Just have fun. She's like, fine. I go, okay, what would you do? And she goes, well, I do this. And I said, okay, go do that for 30 days. And she's like, fine. So she starts doing it. Now, she by nature is somebody who likes to share what she's doing. So she starts sharing what she's doing. And people are like, oh, I want to come to your class. I want to do that. Oh, can I do that with you? And she's like, yeah, come on. And then she's like, wow, this is actually like really fun. And people are paying me and it's profitable. And she goes, maybe I should do like a little bit of business with this. So she starts doing her business. And all she wanted was to make $3,000 a month. She goes, I can cover all my bills for $3,000 a month. We just had a meeting the other day. And in the first 2 quarters, she goes, I already hit 100 grand. I'll double it in my next quarter and double it again in the 4th quarter. She goes, that's my projection. Guys, we think we have to work really, really hard. We have been conditioned that it's all about our effort. And it's all about like, I have to focus on what I want. I have to focus on what I want. I have to focus on what I want. I have to do my affirmations. Now, please hear me. We love affirmations. But if your affirmations are toilsome, you're not trusting the law. If you have to like, oh, I have to do my gratitude journal. I've got to get this right. I want to manifest, right? Guys, it's not supposed to be hard. You don't have to effort an apple falling. I'm going to use Newton, right? You don't have to effort the apple falling once it breaks off from the tree, right? There's no effort in the falling of the apple. By law, when all things are in place, like the apple's no longer attached to the branch, it just falls by law. Guys, we don't even realize we've been efforting ourselves out of the abundance that we desire. What? You mean I have to try less hard to manifest? Yes, that's the law. And guys, this is what's so cool, because there's so many people teaching the law of attraction. So many people. And guys, there's so much out there that is absolutely spot on, right? Here is this information about how to apply the law of attraction, spot on. And then they go, well, here's some information, and it seems to be contrary to this information, right? It's like, no, all you have to do is sit back and imagine and it'll come. And then somebody else is like, no, you have to do your affirmations and make your vision boards, and you have to do all these things, right? Guess what, guys? It's actually this beautiful combination of both. But it starts with understanding the law. And the law is how everything in the universe works. And now when it comes to us, let's look at how that works. Here's the human side of me that does stuff. And then here's the spirit side of me that thinks stuff and imagines stuff. Okay, guys, both of them attract. When they're integrated, now we're attracting with ease and certainty. Yes. So when we start to really look at why does it work for some people and why doesn't it work for other people? The people who it works for are doing it in a certain way. The people it doesn't work for are doing it in a certain way. The problem is that most of the people who are doing it in a certain way may not necessarily understand what they're doing. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit about our three minds. So if you're not familiar, we have three minds. We have a cognitive mind that thinks, right? Then we have our subconscious mind that is our housing unit for our belief system. And then we have our superconscious mind, which is our gut, right? Oh, I just had a gut feeling. That's our guidance system, okay? So we have three minds. And in order for something to manifest, in order for something to show up, right? Because manifest isn't that we made it happen. Manifest is just that it shows up, right? And in order for something to show up, all three of our minds have to be in alignment. Okay, actually, I'm going to rephrase that. We can manifest as long as our subconscious and our cognitive are in line, or our subconscious and our superconscious are in line. But if we want to manifest with ease and certainty and fun and excitement and an unfolding, now we want all three of our minds to show up. And if you're in this container, you've probably been on the manifestation or law of attraction or personal development journey for a while. So welcome to the next level, guys, because we're going to unpack what might be missing in what you're doing now. Not because, again, not because you've done something wrong, but because this is just the next level of more. Right? Because again, we can manifest through effort. We can manifest through trying really hard. However, that's not fun. That's not as much fun as if we understand how it works. And now we use the law to open up for us what is available. Okay. So there's 3 steps to this purposed manifestation, right? Because when we look at that, we can manifest through effort, but we don't want to manifest through effort anymore. Now, how are we going to manifest it in certainty and ease and fun? Okay, so, and these 3 steps are not going to surprise you at all. But when we unpack them, you'll be like, oh, okay. So step number 1 is you have to know where you're at, right? Let's look at this like a GPS, okay? When you get in your car and you want to go somewhere, you want something, right? What has to happen? You have to know where you're at. The GPS has to know where you're at. Then you have to know where you're going. And then you have to follow the prompts, right? So if it says turn left and you turn right, it'll just go recalculating, and then it'll tell you the next way to go. But if you never follow the prompts, then you're not going to get to where you want to go. Now, your GPS system or your GPS will continue to recalculate. But if you never follow it, then you'll never get there, right? So the other thing is if we got in the car and we took the first line and it says, where are you coming from? And most of the time our GPS is automatically says my location, right? And all we have to do is put in the location of where we're going. But let's just say that we have to put in where we're at, right? And so we go, where am I at? And then we say, well, let's see, I'm in Chicago, but somebody told me that Chicago was dirty and nasty. So I'm going to tell everyone that I'm actually in New York. Okay, GPS, I'm in New York. I want to go to Florida. Get me there. Are you ever going to get to Florida? No, because the GPS is going to try to be taking you from New York, right? And here you are in Chicago following the prompts, not getting to where you want to go, right? So step one is you have to know where you're at. And guys, this is why it's so important for us to really, like, if you get nothing from these 3 days, here's the one thing. Well, if you get nothing else from these 3 days, here's the one thing that I beg you to let sink into your subconscious mind. Are you ready? Nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. Nowhere you've ever been is a bad place or something you screwed up or somewhere that you weren't supposed to be, or you weren't smart enough, or you weren't good enough, right? Nothing's wrong with you, you guys. This is an ever unfolding of the magnificence of you. So when we think about if nothing's wrong with me, then wherever I'm at is where I'm at, right? So I teach this stuff. This is what I do for a living. My clients get amazing results. Story after story after story. I could tell you stories. We're going to have a few people talk about some of their experiences because that's important for you guys to see what's possible, right? So I teach this stuff. I still have areas where I go, why am I doubting that? How come I haven't done that yet? Guys, do you know that our limiting beliefs are actually part of the gift of this experience? What? What? I know. I see it. Glazed over. What? Guys, here's what we think we want. I want to imagine something and I want it to show up. I want to imagine something and I want it to show up. I want to imagine something and I want it to show up. I want to imagine something and I want it to show up. How long do you think instant manifestation would happen before you got super bored? You'd be like, oh yeah, $1 million. Oh yeah, I've been to Tahiti 14 times. Oh yeah, already did that. Oh, I have 14 Chanel bags. Oh, Louis Vuitton, yeah. He's on speed dial number 3. Right? Are you guys getting this? Like, our limiting beliefs actually take us on this journey. Let's look at a limiting belief like, do you know what's in your Christmas present? If you knew everything that was under the tree, what would be the fun of opening it? If there was never another surprise ever in your whole life, how much fun would it really be? So when we start to look at this universe and recognize that everything in it is actually part of the plan and a gift for the how it works, now we have a limiting belief and it's no longer, what's wrong with me? Why am I doing that? Why can't I overcome this? It's, oh my gosh, this is so cool, because the fact that I'm aware of the limiting belief is an invitation that I'm about to step into more. I'm about to step into more. And guys, we look at this with, like, let's look at school. We go to school and in first or in kindergarten, right? They teach us some letters. They teach us maybe a few words, and it's really hard. But by the end of kindergarten, we're like, oh yeah, piece of cake. And then they go, yay, you get to go to first grade. And we're like, yay. And then we get to first grade and we're like, this is so hard, right? But then by the time we get halfway through, we're like, oh, I'm getting this. By the time we get done with first grade, what happens? We totally know everything's easy. Well, then what? Then we go to third grade or second grade, right? And we're like, oh, this is hard. But if you actually realized, wait a minute, that's part of the plan. If they expected me, ooh, this is so good. You guys, are you ready for this one? If I was expected to learn a PhD program in kindergarten, I would be so overwhelmed that I would stop. And I'd just say, you know what? I don't want to do any of it. Well, then again, how much fun is that? We came to this planet to experience life and to experience life more abundantly, and ever unfolding of abundance, right? But where we get tripped up is we get to a point and we go, what's wrong with me that I'm not there? And then guess what happens? We get stuck right here, right? So get back in your car with your GPS, right? And so you dialed in, you're like, okay, all right, I get it. Nothing's wrong with me and nothing's wrong with where I'm at. So I'm in Chicago, right? So you punch in Chicago and you're like, and I want to go to Florida. Now, guys, I don't have a map right in front of me, but I'm going to pretend like Tennessee is somewhere in between the two. I don't know. I'll have to look and see exactly if I drove this way. But let's just pretend. Okay, let's just pretend. Let's just pretend we've been driving for a day and a half and we get to Tennessee. And we're like, I'm in Tennessee. I didn't want to be in Tennessee. I want to be in Florida. And we start focusing on what's wrong with where we're at. I don't want to be in Tennessee. I don't want to be in Tennessee. I don't want to be in Tennessee. Guess what just happened to your focus? You just took it off of where you were going and put it on where you were at. Now you're stuck in Tennessee. You guys catching this? The fastest way to what you want is to eliminate any wrongness. Wrongness of you, wrongness of where you're at. And to realize that the law is an ever unfolding. Do you know that science now somehow proves, I don't know how they prove it, but science now proves that the universe is expanding. The universe is expanding, right? Well, then shouldn't you expand with it, right? If the universe can expand, shouldn't you? Right? And that's what we're talking about when we came in this morning and I said, guys, there's nothing wrong with you. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Even if you've been to 1,000 other money manifestation classes, even if you have been, guess what? You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Nothing's gone wrong. You're here for a reason, right? And so when you think about, if nothing's wrong with me, I know where I'm at, well, then the next step is to know where we're going, right? And then the third step is to follow your GPS, to follow your guidance system. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about those last two steps. And then on the third day, we're actually going to take the steps, and because that's the practical, right? We need the practical, cognitive. What are the steps? Okay, well, I need to know where I'm at. I need to know where I'm going, and I need to understand how to follow my guidance system. Okay, so we're going to look at those two, and then Friday, we're going to take some practical applications on how to, or I guess they're practical applications on how to actually take those steps of the law and implement them, right? Because let's go back to our example. I'm 100% human and 100% spirit, right? I have this physical, tangible part of my human, and then I have the ethereal, the intention, right? But if I'm doing apart from the certainty of my intention, it's empty effort. If, however, I have the certainty of what I desire, knowing that it has to show up based on the law, then I'm actually doing these same actions from inspired awareness. Right? So now I'm taking these two parts of me and I'm putting together, right? If I'm doing without the spirit part of me, it's empty, it's hard, it's effortful. If, however, I'm sitting on the couch thinking, oh, all I have to do is sit here and checks will come in the mail, right? But then you get this intuitive hit that says, hey, go to the grocery store. Oh, I can't go to the grocery store. I'm steeping in my intentions, and money's just going to come to me. But guess what? At the grocery store is waiting for somebody who wants to pay you money for whatever it is that you do for exchange. Right? And here you are going, oh no, I don't have to do anything. I just have to be in alignment. No, guys, it's both. It's the integration of both, right? I'm going to pop on the chat real quick and see. Guys, here's the other thing. I'm so like, squirrel, that if I have the chat on, I'll be like, wait, hold on. I gotta read this. So I like to find certain spots where I stop and then read a chunk of the fine, I'm done. Yeah, we've all been there, right? And it's so interesting how sometimes we go, fine, I'm done. And then like 30 seconds later, we pick it back up, right? We get to be done. Welcome to the era of working smarter, not harder. Yes. Imposter syndrome. Yes. Let's talk about that for just a second. I love just teaching off the cuff because that's the funnest thing for me. I hate planning things. I know I kind of have to when I say, guys, I'm going to give you some information. So I kind of have to plan it, but I love teaching off the cuff. So what's super interesting about imposter syndrome is there is this, in order for imposter syndrome to happen, we have to have an awareness of doing that thing, right? So I'm doing the thing on the outside, but inside, I don't feel like I measure up, right? I'm faking it. Or guys, that's an example or a tangible awareness of this two parts of us, this human part of us and the spirit part of us, right? Well, guess what? In order for you to be doing the thing, your spirit had to have motivated you in some way to do the thing, right? So we're doing the thing. So what's actually not caught up is our internal identity that I am that thing, right? Because you're doing it. It's just you holding back. Now, why do we do that, guys? Because guess what? When we're little, we're told, don't bring attention to yourself. Don't boast. I don't know if any of you came from any kind of church background, but my church background was, you don't boast about yourself. You're supposed to like be small and like do the flogging and hit yourself. And you're supposed to be a bad, rotten sinner, right? And yet here we are, the magnificence of the thing that creates. And we want so badly to go, oh my gosh, this is what I love to do. This is what I want to do. And we want to make manifest this glory that is creation. Yet we're told, be small. Don't think highly of yourself, right? There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. That is the imposter syndrome. We're actually acting out the thing that we came to the planet to do, yet we don't feel good enough, or we don't feel like we're supposed to be that magnificent, right? I love the Marianne Williamson quote, who are you not to be? I see you nodding your heads. You know what I'm saying? It's not our fear, or it's not our inadequacies that we fear the most. It's actually our power, right? Because we're told, who are you to be brilliant and amazing and smart and fantastic and rich and command the center stage? Who are you, right? And I love what she says. Who are you not to be? You are an intricate aspect of the all, the thing that creates. Who are you not to be brilliant and amazing and fantastic? And guys, if we're stuck in this thing called something's wrong with us, that's imposter syndrome. Here I am doing the thing, but something's wrong with me. That's not really me, right? That's the internal voice that we're going to unpack a little bit over these next 3 days and really look at what's holding us back. And guys, when we realize that our identity as the law, our identity as abundance, right? Now I show up in a situation as abundance and I figure it out. I don't have to do anything to get abundance. I already am. I don't have to do anything to attract abundance. I already am, right? We've heard this in the law of attraction. Just focus on what you want. Don't worry about the how. Well, how do we do that? When I know that I am abundance, and this is an ever unfolding, and that my guidance system is actually there to show me, to tell me, right? I don't tell my guidance system what I'm going to do, like my literal GPS. I don't tell my literal GPS, hey, I'm about to turn left, make sure I get to where I want to go. No, we wait and we go, we're tootling along. We're not paying attention to anything. We're looking at the trees. We're enjoying the sunset, tootling along. And all of a sudden something says, hey, turn left. And we're like, yeah, turn left. Sweet. Right? And then we turn left. Guys, this is exactly how it gets to be when we understand that it works exactly the same in our life as it does on that GPS. One of the things that I was talking to somebody about the other day, because they're like, well, I don't understand why it's so hard for me to stay in a place where I'm focusing on what I want, right? These old patterns have me stuck. The old patterns of lack, the old patterns of not enough, the old patterns of not good enough, the old patterns of not worthy, right? And I said, okay, let me ask you a question. If you went on any social media, right? And now they all have little videos, right? And you watched dog videos all day long. And you just kept searching dog videos, searching dog videos, searching dog videos. And you just seep up the little dog videos. And all of a sudden, the only thing that your social media presents to you is dog videos. And you're like, okay, I probably should really, think about something. So maybe I should go look for something that's going to stimulate my mind, right? I need to do some learning. I'm going to stimulate my mind, right? So you go looking for some kind of video that will teach you something about the law of attraction. We'll just say that, right? And so you put it in and you watch this video and you're like, oh yeah, get my mind going again. Right? The next morning when you wake up, how many videos are you going to get presented to you that are cognitive learning of the law of attraction? Maybe one in the sea of all the dog videos, right? Because the algorithm is programmed to tell you, hey, she loves dog videos. He loves dog videos. Let's just play lots of dog videos. Right? Now, you put a little new information into the algorithm. So maybe after 50 videos, you get one, law of attraction. Right? And you're like, oh, yeah. Oh, I should go look for another one. That was good. Or click on the, if you like this, you'll like this. And you click on that, right? Well, the next morning when you wake up, what are you going to get? Mostly dog videos. You'll get a few law of attraction videos. A few more than you did the day before, but you'll mostly still get dog videos. Why? Because the algorithm is set that this is what you like. Now, if you keep watching the law of attraction videos and you look for a new law of attraction video and you click several times on the ones, if you like this, you'll like this, what's going to start happening? You'll start getting suggested more law of attraction videos, less dog videos, right? It's an algorithm. We all know how the algorithm works. Guess what, guys? The law of attraction and frequency works exactly the same. It's exactly the same. When we've been steeped in a particular energy, i.e. lack, right? Not enough, not good enough, something's wrong with us. Then guess what shows up in our feed? Well, that, because remember, what I'm seeing in my physical universe is just a reflection of the algorithms that I've programmed in my subconscious mind. Yeah? So here we are thinking, I'm trying to manifest and I keep getting the same thing, right? I'm everything is always hard, right? I have to work so hard. It's so hard. Yet, guys, that's just the past algorithm programmed. All we have to do is continue to come back. Okay, where am I at? Where am I at? Oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I've just got a programmed algorithm. Guys, guess what? You didn't even program you. You didn't even program you. Your parents programmed you, your teachers programmed you, society programmed you, right? Your ancestors programmed you because we get passed down belief systems. Frequency is passed down through generations, right? You didn't program you. That doesn't mean that you're not programmed, right? But this is the value of being so honest about where am I at? Where am I at? Because guys, if we don't get really clear about where we're at, then the next step of where we're going is not going to come with ease. Now we're going to have to effort it, right? So when we look at the fact that nothing's wrong with you, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and here you showed up. And guys, could I just tell you how cool it is that you showed up here? Because somewhere in my mind, I got an idea to do this challenge, to do this live event. Guys, guess what? If we're all connected in the universe, where did that come from? You called for this. I'm simply just the reflection of you saying, I'm ready to up level. I'm ready for more. I'm ready for the next step, right? And then, ta-da! Thank you for bringing me forth, right? I'm just here as a reflection of you deciding already that you're ready for more. You're ready to change your awareness of the wrongness of you to, wait, nothing's wrong with me, and this is just my path. Yeah, so cool. Yay, love it. All right, so guys, I want to introduce you to my friend Bridget real quick. And let me pin Bridget up here because you guys, I am at a pin. Okay, because you guys, this is what I like to say. I'm really freaking cool and I know a lot of stuff. And yes, I'm pretty brilliant. I make manifest creation here on this planet. However, I could never create a container by myself. Okay, so one of the things that I like to talk about, so how do we make a transformation, right? Let's look at a piece of material, a white piece of material that wants to be a red piece of material, right? And let's say here's this bowl of red dye, and we go dip, dip, dip. How long is it actually going to take us to turn this white piece of cloth into red if all we're doing is going dip, dip, right? But if you took this white cloth and you put it in and you immersed it, Bridget, you're sideways. I don't know if you know that. And you immersed it, right? Now the steeping of that cloth is what turns the cloth red. Deeper, faster, right? So we have a container, and most of you who are here probably jumped into the Abundant Life Collective. That is an aspect of our container. And then we have the container proper, you know, coming in and doing some coaching, getting in our programs, things like that. But the container itself, the energy, right? You guys have all heard, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with. Why? Because there's something about being around people who believe in you until you believe in yourself, right? It's just like, here you are manifesting the thing, an imposter syndrome, but you don't believe yet. Why? Because, by the way, sometimes naughty things fall out of my mouth. Because a piece of shit can't convince a piece of shit that it's not a piece of shit, right? That's why we show up to things like this, guys, because we want somebody to speak into us, help us to believe more than what we believe right now, right? And remember, our beliefs are housed in our subconscious mind, which is our heart. That's why I keep referring to this right here, right? Your subconscious is your heart. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is, right? As I believe that I am, as I believe my identity as something, well, how do I take on that new identity? You steep yourself in and around people who will speak life into you, right? So I want to just have Bridget kind of tell you guys a little bit about the transformation she's had and where she came from and where she is now. And so this is Bridget. So if you'll unmute. So Bridget, just give us an example of, or a little bit about where you were before you came into the container.
So when I met Lori, I really felt like I was at a place in my life. My husband and I had this vision for what our life looked like, but we weren't living that life. And I really felt this internal tug of war with myself, a constant battle, because we had this vision, but we weren't even close to living it. And because of that internal struggle that I was having, I felt that then I was taking it out on the people around me. So I would get snarky with my husband, or I would roll my eyes at my friends, or I wasn't liking the stuff that was how I was acting. I wasn't liking the person that I was. It wasn't me. I felt like I was constantly being a bitch, and I was constantly just looking at negative and things. All of it was just the struggle. And then I met Lori, and I came into this container and started to really get to know me, like really break down the walls of that I had built, because I had built a lot of walls to keep other people from seeing how broken I was and how afraid I was. I kept people at an arm's length away because it was too painful for me to let them in. So I kept everybody at an arm's length away. And as I started to really get to know me by being in this container, and one of the things that this container helped me see was vulnerability in other people. As other people were being vulnerable, I then found the strength in myself to be vulnerable as well. And once I was able to break down those walls that I was putting up, I didn't want to see the real me. I had just built all these walls around me. So as I started to break down those walls and start to really look at the true me, then things started. My husband and I left our careers and we started a business, and we are now living the life that we had dreamed about living. So it all started with me. And again, when I look at the container, it really was watching other people face their fears that then gave me the courage to face my own.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what, like when you talk about seeing other people be vulnerable and other people face their fears, what got revealed inside of you in relationship to watching other people? What did you start to see about you and who you were?
I started to see that my my past hurts and my past beliefs were just part of a story. It was just, it didn't, my past hurts and my past beliefs didn't make me who I was. It was part of a story that I was simply living, and I could choose to not look at that anymore. I could choose to live the life I wanted to live and to be the person that I wanted to be.
Cool. So one of the things, guys, we teach is a coaching model called MFRE. And what MFRE is it really is the breakdown of the law and how it works, right? That we're 100% human and 100% spirit. And that when we put those two things together in a place of awareness, then all of life opens up. Okay. So from the perspective of our model from MFRE, what was that aspect of, like, what was the thing that revealed to you that it's just a story and it's not me, and I'm the one who can choose? Tell us a little bit about what that looked like, because guys, that is the juice right there. Because so often we think that we are our stories, we think that we are our trauma, we think that we are our manifestation. So tell us a little bit about that, Bridget.
So there's two things that came up as you were talking about that, and one is anything is possible, and that was, I think, a really big limiting belief on my husband and I branching out to start our own business, was that there was this underlying belief that, well, we weren't equipped to do it on our own. We had only worked for other people. Like we didn't have what it took. We weren't starting as 18-year-olds to do this business. We're not, just starting out in life. Like we've had careers, 20 years in careers that we left to start this new thing. And we literally went hiking and we just kept saying, if anything is possible, anything is possible, anything is possible. What do we want to do? If anything is possible, and really opening ourselves up to, yes, anything is possible, anything. And then the second thing is that I am okay, regardless of those past stories, regardless of the pain or the hurt or anything, even in spite of the happiness and the joy that I've had in my life as well. Like, I am okay with all of that. I embrace all of that, the good and the bad and the ugly crying and the joyful tears. I embrace all of it, and I am okay.
So if sitting where you're sitting, where you came from and where you're at now, if somebody was standing in front of you and said, I don't know if it's possible for me. Like, I get that you're saying anything is possible, but I don't know that I believe that. I don't know that it's really possible for me. Like, maybe you're this or maybe you're that. Like, how is it that this could be possible for me? What would you tell them?
I would tell them to take a leap of faith on themselves. I would tell them to dive in head first and see where it goes. It's one of the things that I shared with somebody recently about this container was, when I am embarking on something new or I'm getting hits on something new, I don't always know exactly what it means, but I feel like I'm surrounded with this group of friends who will support support and embrace me, even if I don't fully understand. So if you're at that point where, like, yeah, like I think there's might be something there, but I don't know, like just dive in, explore, and see where it goes.
So that does bring me back to talk a little bit about what does that support system look like for you, right? Because we talked about being in the container, but what aspect, like, because the container is, yes, what I've created in this model, but the biggest, most powerful part of the container really is that support system. So talk about that just a little bit. I'm glad you brought that up. Oh, you're muted.
There
Sorry.
Okay. So going back to watching other people share their vulnerability really helped me like find my own vulnerability and not be afraid of it. But I also feel like because there are no walls amongst this group, that I can explore things that I don't know the words yet. I can explore with this container, even if I cognitively don't understand it. Which is huge for me because the other friends in my life may not, if I don't have the words to explain it, they may not fully understand me. So this container is really like the group that sees the real me, even when I can't cognitively say the words that would make sense.
I love it. I love it. I love it. My favorite part, you guys, really of being in this container for me is really watching the camaraderie and watching the collaboration and watching how it's kind of like if you have one person that's going, yeah, good job, or yeah, you can do this. But when you have 5 people, when you have 10 people, when you have 15 people, it is the multiplication, right? It's the energy of that multiplication and the energy of feeling that people believe in you before you believe in yourself is really the magic. And that's really how we're able to catapult our transformation, is really to be steeped in an energy where people see the real you before you do. Right? Because they do. It's so weird and magical, right? It's so easy for us to see how magnificent someone else is, but we get inundated with those old algorithms, right? So when other people are bringing in those new algorithms to be able to show us what's possible for us, that's where transformation is catapulted. So awesome, Bridget. Thanks for coming and playing with me and sharing, and yeah, love you so much. Pin in waiting room. Nope. How do I just, oh, there it is. Remove. All right, guys, I want to talk a little bit. Oh, I think I removed her from the whole chat. I mean, I think I removed her. No, I don't want to send a don't report. I sent Bridget away. Oh, there she is. Bridget, I'm so sorry. I thought I was removing the pin and I removed you altogether. So I'm so sorry. Thank you for coming back.
That's funny.
I want to tell you guys a little bit about me and how I got to be where I am today and why I'm so passionate about what we teach in this container and how it came about. So, so I grew up really feeling like externally I lived this charmed life. And so guess what? I manifested that most of my life. My dad was in the military, so I traveled all over. And so once I left my house, I continued to travel the world. I got a job where I traveled the world. I at one point in time, didn't ever want to boss again. And so I started a business out of nowhere, something that the only reason I thought I was going to do it or thought I'd be good at it was because I had this friend who was not as smart as me, but she was doing it. So I'm like, if she can do it, I can do it. And it was like one thing led to another thing. And I got super busy and I like just exploded my success. And then I'm like, ooh, what's next? And so I was doing nails. And I built this amazing clientele. So what was next? I had to open my own salon. And then what was next? I had to fill it with other nail techs. And then what was next? Well, I started manufacturing a product because I wanted to educate other people on how to do this product. And then I had this other manufacturer come up and say, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You should come educate for us. And so I started educating for them and it was effortless. It was so easy. And I was making money hand over fist. I was driving a nice vehicle. I lived in a beautiful home, right? My kids went to private school. I had the ultimate, what we look at as the American dream. Everything that we are taught, work really hard and you can have this. And I did, and I succeeded. Yet, in the depths of my mind, if I was alone with myself for even 10 seconds, if I had 1 second of quiet, I was trying to figure out how to kill myself because I was so empty inside. Everything on the outside was shiny and bright and amazing and everything everybody could have ever wanted. Yet I was so alone and I was so empty inside because whatever I did was never enough, right? Build a huge clientele. Oh, that's not enough. What's next? Oh, have a salon full of people. Yep. Okay. That's not enough. Like every time I tried to do that next thing of enough, I thought, this is what's going to make me happy. This is what's going to make me feel full. This is what's finally going to make me feel like I'm okay, right? It's always the next thing, always the next thing. And when I got to the pinnacle, you guys, I was one of 22 international educators for the largest manufacturer in my industry. At that point in time in my industry, I was traveling the world teaching people how to build their businesses. There was nowhere left for me to go. And I'm still not got the answer to how to feel good inside my body, right? And so it was shortly after that that I realized that my life was chaotic. My family was falling apart. I was in the middle of a divorce, and I had zero answers left for like how to do this thing called life. And I had grown up in the church. And so for me, the only solution was the church. And so I went to church, I went to a Bible study. It was a Bible study for women who were in abusive relationships. I know the bipolar of that, everything on the outside, yet in my own home, it wasn't what it looked like on the outside, right? So I go to this Bible study and I remember opening up this folder, and on one side had how to design an escape plan, and on the other side was the syllabus. And at the top of the syllabus it says, nobody was created to do what you were created to do for the kingdom of God. And I absolutely broke inside. And for the first time in my life, I knew where my significance lied. And it wasn't in the money, and it wasn't in the fame, and it wasn't in the statue or the status, right? It was something inside of me with this thing that is the creator of everything, right? And so that sent me on this trajectory. And it was like instantly I had this radical transformation. I woke up the next morning a completely different person, completely different. Everything I wanted was different, and everything I like desired in my life and the way that I thought was different, right? So I spent the next year and a half rebuilding my life. My kids were broken, I was broken. So I spent a year and a half rebuilding from the inside out, from the inside out. And I went through this process where I ended up I did get a divorce, and through this new life, I ended up finding a new husband. And I remember, by the way, he was a pastor. So, and when you're a pastor and a pastor's wife, guess who you hang out with? Pastors and pastors' wives, right? And I started hanging out with all these people. And I'm like, something's really weird. Like, whatever happened to me, I don't think happened to them. Like, there's a missing piece here, right? Because one of the things that happened in my life was the fear in my life was gone. And I still recognized a lot of fear in these people. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, how could this be? I thought this was the pinnacle of like this new life. The pinnacle was being a pastor's wife, right? Because I had been at the pinnacle over here. I was looking for the pinnacle over here, right? And I remember I couldn't grasp how pastors could stand there and speak these truths, yet not be living it in their regular life. And so I was like, all right, God, you better start talking, because I don't understand how this works. And I got to understand, because now like things are churning, and I'm no longer finding solutions in the church. Right. So one day one of my clients shows up and she goes, I have to tell you this story about this woman that I go to, and she's telling me these things that are happening, and it's clicking in my mind. Oh my gosh, that's the answer. Oh my gosh, that's the answer. So I call this woman and I'm like, I need to have an appointment with you. And so I show up, I come to her office, and she's like, well, what do you want to work on? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what you do. All I know is that whatever my client was telling me was answering questions about how this all works, right? And so I'm meeting with her, and she tells me, well, I do energy work. And I'm like, oh, that's like the devil, energy work, what? And then I'm like, okay, God, you really better start talking, because I don't understand this. Well, he starts revealing the power behind this law that is God, this law that is energy, right? He starts revealing all these things. And so now I start stepping out. I'm going, wow, this is amazing. This is so cool. And guess what? I'm thinking, just like I didn't understand what it all was, neither does the people in the church. So I start telling the people in the church, like, guys, guess what I'm learning? Well, guess what? They weren't as open as I was. And so they continued to tell me like that I was being deceived, and that I was being like that this wasn't really God. And you guys, I got to a point where I had this underlying feeling behind everything I was learning, right? I'm learning how to do life at this new level and my significance out here. Yet underneath, there was still this emptiness, because I couldn't understand how people who claim to know God could be so mean and could be so judgmental. And so for 3 years, guys, I was in this place of total turmoil, because the thing, when I had all the money, but inside I felt empty, had gone away, and I had started to see this new reality. But then this new reality started breaking down, and I was like, the answer's not there either, because look at all these people and they're so mean, right? So 3 years I felt completely alone. 3 years I was trying to figure it out. 3 years I was actually teaching some of this, but behind the scenes there was just this emptiness that I couldn't explain. And talk about imposter syndrome, right? Because I'm like, wait a minute, I'm seeing this thing out here, and I'm understanding cognitively like God, and I'm feeling the difference in my body, but the understanding isn't matching up. Right? And I remember one night going, okay, God, like maybe this separation, maybe this emptiness inside, maybe this is just supposed to be what I'm on the planet to do. Maybe I can love you and have these understandings and share this power and still have this emptiness inside. And maybe that's just my path, right? And I completely surrendered to who I was and the circumstances I was in. Guys, are you hearing the familiar ring to this? I finally surrendered to where I was at. There was no longer anything wrong with where I was at. And just like the first time, I woke up a completely different person. Guys, there's nothing wrong with you. You haven't messed up. You haven't not gotten something from every other class you've ever been to. You simply were on a path that is forever unfolding the magnificence of you. There's no longer anything to fix. You no longer have to tell the story of your brokenness. We get to, just like Bridget was saying, we get to choose what we believe about ourselves. We get to decide how I connect, how you connect, how we connect with the experience that we want to have on this planet. And as soon as there was nothing wrong with me, you guys, my entire reality started to shift and change. And the integration of my human and my spirit, the magnificence of my spirit. And you guys, we have this belief that our spirit is good and our human is bad. Our human is the one that we need to fix. Guys, what if you're not broken and nothing's wrong with you? And this is what got revealed to me, and it unpacked itself for the next 6 months before I delivered what we teach now as MFree, right? But it's this understanding that the magnificence that I see in the spirit is exactly the same magnificence that's in my human. Because guys, without the physical, you can't have non-physical. And without the non-physical, then there is no physical, which means it's two sides to one coin. And that coin is you. It is the law, and it is magnificent. And when we start doing life, when we start doing what we desire in our life from the place of our magnificence, everything starts to unfold, right? Just like Bridget was saying, when I really started realizing that anything was possible and I'm already okay. I'm already okay. And what's next? What's continuing to unfold? And guys, since then, I could tell you story after story about the clients that have come. And guys, yes, we want a lot of money. Yes, we want to do the fuck ton of money. Yes, we want the influence. And yes, we want to build our clientele. Yes, we want to do all those things. Yes. And guys, and we get that internal knowing that we're okay. And we get to live in this place of contentment within our spirit. And, right, I love telling stories about clients who come into our money class. It's called Total Identity Transformation, Total Identity, Who I Am as Abundance, Total Identity Transformation with Money. And I love to tell the story about this one person that came in, and she's going through the class, and she goes, 3 or 4 weeks into the class, and she goes, guys, you will never guess what happened. And she starts telling this story about how she was applying the principles that we were teaching, but she was applying it to some areas in her marriage because there was just some things weird with the money and her marriage. And so she started applying those things over here. And she's like, guys, my marriage has never been better. We went a whole weekend and we didn't even fight. Guys, yes, we want the money. Yes, the money is important. But guys, when we realize that we have the capacity to realign our identity as somebody who has ease and flow and joy and abundance in every area of our life, Now we have it all, right? We don't have it all if we're broke, but we have God. And we don't have it all if we have all the money, but we lose our soul. Guys, we get to have both. And it starts with realizing and recognizing and making a cognitive decision that nothing's wrong with you. You're just on a path that ever unfolds the magnificence of you. And guys, when we realize that our cognitive mind is the decider, but our subconscious mind needs to be persuaded. So often we try to force what we want onto the subconscious to manifest. But guys, all we have to do is decide where we're at right now. Where are you at right now? Okay, cool. This is where I'm at. Nothing's wrong with me. Okay. So one of the ways that we love EMPHORY.com. Okay, in the chat, I just put our website. If you go to our website and you scroll down to the bottom, it'll say, what is your #1 abundance block? And if you click on that, it's going to give you 20 questions. And those 20 questions are questions about beliefs that you might have about money. And guys, let me just tell you, when you go to take it, when you go to take the assessment, trust your gut. Read the question, whatever number comes up, just put that number down. It's 1 through 10. Okay, here's the question. This isn't one of them, I'm just making it up. I love money. Ooh, 10. Right? Whatever that number is, just trust this process, right? So fill out the 20 questions, and then at the bottom or the next page, it'll show you how to add up your numbers, put them into categories, and then it'll tell you what your predominant abundance block is. There's 4 main abundance blocks that 99.9% of people is their main block. Okay, this is part of recognizing where we're at. And this is the other really cool thing about being in the container, you guys, because I had given this assignment to our group, and everybody went and filled it out, and got their number, and then figured out what their abundance block was. And then Bridget shows up. Brilliant Bridget shows up, and she goes, I had my husband do this. And then we went through line by line and we compared all of our numbers and what he thought and what I thought. And it brought up so much conversation. And guys, this is part of that knowing where we're at and recognizing that nothing's wrong with where we're at. Because Bridget got to actually unpack all these things where, wow, I didn't even realize I believed that. Wow, I didn't even realize he believed that. And so when we start to unpack and see all of these areas that we don't even know that we believe something, or we didn't even realize it was that steeped in our algorithm, right? Now we can start to unpack those, right? Because how do you make a decision on what you want and who you are and how life is going to play out if you don't even know what you're stuck in already, right? And this is what's so vital about knowing where we're at and going back to the law, right? Because guys, the law says if this and this and this are all working in order the way that they're designed to work, manifestation is certain. And guys, that's the difference between a crapshoot manifestation technique and understanding the law of prosperity, the law of abundance, the law of identity, right? They're laws. And this is how we can start to live life in certainty, right? And a lot of times this is how we manifest our life, right? Oh, I want, I want money for that thing. Okay, great. And then it goes back down. Oh, well, I want to manifest a partner. And then we get a partner and then we're like, oh, what's next? Right? That was the roller coaster that I was on when it was like, oh, here's this next achievement I'm going to get. But then I'd get the achievement and realize that wasn't the answer. And I'd slope back down. Right? Guys, when we understand the law and we start putting our faith and our actioning in the depths of the law, now guess what? Guess what life gets to look like? It's an ever unfolding of more abundance. Life and life more abundant. We get to unfold in the abundance of what? Us. And as we see ourselves as abundance, guess what shows up around us? Abundance. Yes. All right, guys. So, did we do this? Okay. I am going to put a post in the Abundant Life Collective, and I'm going to put on there, post your results here. If you post your results there, then I'm going to put everyone's name in a drawing for a session with me where we're going to break some of those old algorithms. We're going to infuse some new algorithms. We're going to do that from the inside of you, your identity. So, so everyone who puts in a comment will put a slip. You'll get an entry into the drawing. If you put in your ahas, in fact, if anybody wants to put their aha in the chat right now, I will even count it and I will write it down and put you an entry in for the drawing. But I will also take the aha if you type it in the group. I'll take it there as well. And then on Wednesday, I'm like, what's 3 days? Yeah. On Wednesday, we'll draw out a name and see who gets that session. And I will see you guys tomorrow, unless there's any questions. If anybody has any questions, we're actually done a little bit early. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to entertain some questions. But otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock and we'll talk about the next 2 parts of the law. We're going to talk about where you're going and how 95% of people who think they're applying this step of the law of attraction are not applying this step. So no wonder your shit isn't showing up, right? So we're going to talk about the second step, and then we're going to talk about the 3rd step. And we're actually going to do a meditation to activate your sensitivity to your guidance system so that you can hear it louder, you can feel it more profoundly, whether you're a hearer or a feeler, will get you dialed in so that you can follow your guidance system with greater ease and precision. And then again, on Wednesday, guys, we are going to look at some tools to utilize to supercharge everything that we've talked about on the first 2 days. Okay, so thanks so much for being here. I will see you guys tomorrow. Again, Bridget, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.